promised, for this video we will be doing a review on Ridley Pearson's latest book, Kingdom Keeper's Inheritance, Book 1, The Shimmer. If you guys are new to the channel and don't know how these reviews work, I break the video down into a couple of segments, summary of the story, what I think worked, what I think didn't work, and my overall thought and rating of the book. So, let's get into it. Inheritance takes place 20 years or so after the events of The Return. All of the Kingdom Keepers are keeping a low profile in Epcot. They've been adjusting to normal life, and they have now had kids. Everything's been going really good so far, no overtaker attacks, until one day when this new threat emerges out of Epcot and abducts Finn and Amanda's son, Eli. So Eli is taken out of Epcot and put into this crazy situation, forcing all of the kids of the other Kingdom Keepers to rescue Eli to restart the battle between the Keepers and the Overtakers. The one and only thing I enjoyed about this book is its premise. I was really looking forward to this book when it was announced, because if you've seen on my channel, I am really into the Kingdom Keepers books. I have covered the entire series of books, and I have a whole playlist if you want to go watch those reviews. But I was really looking forward to this book and seeing the Keepers and seeing how the world's changed over the 20-some-odd years we missed inside the book. I was very much looking forward to the idea of going back to the Kingdom Keepers world. As you'll see later in the video, the execution didn't quite live up to what I was hoping for. And yeah, this is going to be one of those videos that has a very lengthy cons section. So let's get into all of that right now. So, starting off with the first thing that I didn't think worked quite well, and that's going to be the kids of the Keepers themselves. A lot of this comes down to them not having super distinct personalities. I was struggling to connect with any of them because none of them felt distinct. None of them felt as compelling as the original Kingdom Keepers felt when we first met them. There are a couple of good character moments, but none of the characters really stand out to me. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have to split time with the Keepers, and I'll get into that next because that's an entirely different point I want to talk about. I didn't connect with Keepers kids all that much, which is a shame because, again, I was really looking forward to this book, but I just didn't connect with them too well. And another thing is, sometimes it was kind of annoying to figure out who was related to who. Ridley Pearson didn't take a whole lot of time to, go down and describe who was whose parents, unless I completely missed something. You kind of had to figure out whose kid was whose by context, and they did mention their parents, but it wasn't, made super clear who was whose kid. I don't think the new generation worked quite as well as the original Kingdom Keepers. Number 2, the fact that the OG Keepers were in this book. I need to explain this point. The Kingdom Keepers in and of themselves being in the book isn't the problem. It's the fact that we have to split time between the original Keepers and the kids. I'm so much more invested in the original Kingdom Keepers. I want to figure out what they have been doing, how they've changed over 20 years, but we have to, again, split time between them and their kids. So it sort of makes the book sort of disjointed. Once we cut to the original Keepers, I'm like, yeah, I want to see how these guys have changed in depth, because I really enjoy these characters a lot. When we cut back to the kids, I'm like, okay, I don't find that too interesting. I want to figure out how the Kingdom Keepers have changed over 20 years, if you guys get what I mean. If the Keepers had taken a much lesser role in this book and not been super active, and a lot more focus was put on the new generation of the Keepers, then I wouldn't be complaining as much. But the fact that we have to split time between the original Keepers and the new kids, and I'm so invested in the original Keepers, is sort of a problem for me. Third thing that really bothered me about this book is the fact that there are so many unanswered questions from the Return series. The Return series ends very weirdly. I was hoping that Inheritance would give us a chance to answer a lot of those questions, but it doesn't. One of the big questions Inheritance left us with was, what the heck happened to Greg? Greg's in there for the syndrome, and then he's never heard from again. I thought they would at least explain what happened to Greg, for that matter, the other fairies. They are not mentioned at all. Kind of baffles me that Pearson didn't take a second to explain what happened to the fairies, because they were such an integral part of the entire Return series. So it doesn't really make sense to me to not answer where they've been, especially that some of these characters are even the children of the fairies. It would have made so much more sense to take a little bit to explain what happened to the fairies, because at the end of the Return, it sounds like they're going into like witness protection. You would think Inheritance would answer that question, but it doesn't. Thoughts on the book here. Overall, I think the video speaks for itself. I loved the idea of going back to the Kingdom Keeper's world. Again, when this book was announced, I was so hyped for it. It had been a while since we have gone back to Kingdom Keepers, and I was super hyped to be able to go back. But the execution, I think, completely slipped up. From the fact that we were splitting time between the original Keepers and these new generation of Keepers, to the fact that there were so many unanswered questions, and the fact that it was sort of hard to connect to the new generation of the kids. This book has a lot of execution problems that really held this book back from me liking and enjoying this book. I'm still going to give the series a fair shot and read the rest of the books, but this book definitely set a weird tone for me. Hopefully Ridley Pearson will be able to fix it, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. So I'm going to be giving Kingdom Keepers Inheritance the Shimmer 4 out of 10. Down in the comments, if you guys have read The Shimmer and want to talk about it, feel free to do so. Just try and keep it spoiler free for anyone who hasn't read the book and wants to experience it for themselves. And if you guys did like this book, that's completely fine. Again, this is all my opinion. I'm not going to say you have to not like this book, but I just personally didn't. So if you guys did, that's good on you. As always, down in the comments, if you guys have books you want me to do reviews on in the future, leave those down there and I might make a video on it at some point later on. I will leave a link to my Instagram, TikTok, and my Discord server. My Instagram and TikTok are both RM Book Reviews, so you guys can go and check all that out if you guys want to at some point in the future. I would definitely recommend checking out my Discord server. I post a lot of update stuff on there, so you guys should definitely check that out. That is going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, have a great week, and don't forget, keep on reading.